Welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're taking another trip to Westeros, but with a twist. Remember that research you sent over about AI
Yeah.
and how it could actually expand the world of Game of Thrones? Well, we're diving into that today. And yeah, let me tell you, it's going to be a wild ride.
It's pretty amazing stuff. I mean, we're not talking about replacing George R. R. Martin or anything like that.
Right, of course not.
It's more like, think of AI as this brand new lens, something that helps us find those hidden patterns and really dive deeper into this crazy world.
So we're talking about an actual academic paper here.
Right.
One that explores how AI could analyze the existing story, create new Game of Thrones content, maybe even predict what happens next. It's kind of blown my mind a little.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And yeah, those are all things the paper dives into. The possibilities are, well, they're pretty massive.
Okay, so let's start with the analysis side of things. The paper keeps mentioning something called natural language processing, NLP. So first off, what is that exactly? And how could it even be applied to, Game of Thrones?
Okay, so NLP. Basically, it's the way computers can understand and analyze, well, human language. Like, imagine an AI going through every single line of dialogue, every chapter of those books.
Okay, so it's like reading the entire story. Gotcha. Then what?
Well, then the cool stuff starts happening because it can start picking up on patterns and insights that, honestly, even the most diehard fan might miss. Like, let's take Daenerys Targaryen, for example. I mean, she goes through an insane transformation over the course of the whole series.
Yeah, totally. From exile princess to mother of dragons to, well, conqueror. She definitely doesn't just stay in one place.
Exactly. And NLP can actually track the nuances of that whole journey. So by going through her dialogue, her interactions with everyone, an AI could map out her emotional arc and show us how power and all the stuff she goes through actually shape her decisions. You know, those big questions like, does she become corrupted, or is there something deeper driving her? AI could give us a totally fresh take on all that.
Whoa, that's crazy. And it's like an AI character analyst. But what about the bigger picture relationships? I mean, Game of Thrones is known for that insane web of alliances and betrayals, right? Could AI even make sense of that whole mess?
Oh, absolutely. The paper talks about using AI to create relationship graphs, which basically are visual representations of every connection between the characters. They can even show things like alliances, rivalries, even hidden agendas.
So way more than just a family tree, right? It's about understanding the dynamics of power and loyalty in Westeros.
You got it. Imagine a graph showing how all those alliances were shifting before the Red Wedding. It could show all these subtle power plays and tensions that were leading up to it. We're getting a behind-the-scenes look at how it all went down.
And speaking of the Red Wedding, didn't I read something about researchers actually using AI to predict betrayals in the series?
Yep, they did. And the crazy part is they actually got it right. They predicted Ramsay Bolton's treachery, just based on the patterns in the text.
Yeah. No way. That's nuts. Makes you think a little, though. If AI can predict stuff like that in the story, what does that mean for understanding how people act in real life,
It's definitely something to think about. I mean, it really shows how powerful AI can be, not just for breaking down stories, but for maybe understanding human nature, too.
Okay, so AI can be a tool for understanding the story as it is.
Yeah.
But the paper also talks about AI actually creating new content. Is that even possible?
Oh, yeah, it is. And honestly, it's one of the most mind-blowing things about this whole topic. Have you ever heard of GPT?
Vaguely, yeah. It's some crazy advanced AI, right?
Basically, it's this language model that's been fed a ton of text. And the insane thing is, it can actually write new dialogue, scenes, even entire chapters that sound like a specific author.
Hold on. So theoretically, this GPT thing could write a new chapter of Game of Thrones, and it would sound just like George R. R. Martin wrote it.
Exactly. It's kind of freaky, right? Imagine reading a chapter that feels like it came straight from the source, but it was all AI.
That's both super cool and kind of creepy. What about visuals? Could AI create, new maps of Westeros? Or design new characters?
Totally. AI can generate images, so making new maps that, expand on the world wouldn't be a problem. Imagine detailed maps of everything beyond the Sunset Sea. Or even, 3D models of places like King's Landing.
It's getting into, next-level fan fiction territory here. But can AI ever really capture how complex and deep Martin's writing is? Or will it always feel like just an imitation?
That's the million-dollar question, and it leads us to one of the biggest debates about AI, can it actually be creative? It really is a fascinating debate, but I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool at the end of the day. what actually creates, it all depends on the data it learns from and the
Yeah.
people using it.
So even with AI-generated stuff, there's still a human element. It's not just like robots spitting out stories.
Exactly. Humans are still a huge part of the process, whether it's in the beginning stages, training the AI,
Hmm.
or curating and editing whatever it makes.
Gotcha, okay. So AI can analyze the existing story, generate no content. What else? Anything else it can do?
Well, think about games. The interactive side of things. AI could totally change how fans experience Game of Thrones through gaming.
Now you're talking. Okay, tell me more about these AI-powered Game of Thrones games.
So imagine a game where your choices actually matter, where the world and the characters react to what you do in real time. AI could power those NPCs, the non-player characters.
Hold on. So instead of just like following a set path, the characters I'm interacting with would have their own like motivations and stuff. They'd be making their own choices.
Exactly. It would make them feel so much more alive, more real, less predictable. Picture yourself trying to negotiate a treaty with Tywin Lannister, but an AI-controlled Tywin. He's analyzing every word you say, every move you make, and responding in real time. How intense would that be?
Dude, that's insane. It would be a totally different level of like your eye in the game. And wait, I bet AI could make those quests and challenges different every time you play too, right?
You got it. Imagine, the whole political landscape is constantly changing, new threats popping up, and your choices have real consequences. All because of AI. That's a dynamic game, man.
Okay, this is all super cool, but let's switch gears for a sec. The paper mentioned something about recurring themes in the books. Is AI could analyze those too?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Game of Thrones is known for, its exploration of power, loyalty, family, duty, all that stuff, right? Well, AI could track how often those themes appear, how they change throughout the story, and how different characters embody them.
So we could like put a number on how much of the story is about war versus politics or versus family drama.
Exactly. It would give us a whole new understanding of how this story is structured and how Martin uses those themes to move everything along.
Okay, so we've got AI analyzing the story, creating new stuff, making crazy immersive games, even analyzing themes. Is there anything it can't do with Game of Thrones?
Well, there is this one area that's really interesting, and it's kind of blurs the lines between reality and fiction. AI-powered chatbots.
Chatbots. So like I could have a conversation with a computer program. What?
But not just any chatbot. Imagine talking with an AI that's been trained on a specific Game of Thrones character, their whole
Yeah.
personality, what they say, their backstory, all of it.
Are you saying I could talk to like Tyrion Lannister?
Yeah, kind of. Think of an AI that can answer your questions, give you those witty comebacks Tyrion's known for, even argue with you. And it would all be in character, true to how Tyrion would act and think.
Okay, now that's just nuts. But how real would those conversations even be? Would it really feel like I'm talking to Tyrion?
That all depends on how advanced the AI is and the data it's been trained on. But even if it wasn't perfect, it would still be a crazy way to get inside a character's head, to see how they think.
So instead of reading about Tyrion being all witty, I could actually experience it firsthand. I kind of dig that. But wouldn't it be weird talking to a computer program like it's a real person?
Yeah, it's definitely a strange idea. It makes you think about, what is consciousness? What is artificial intelligence?
Big questions, man. But in terms of Game of Thrones, it could be a really fun way for fans to connect with their favorite characters. What other kind of fan experiences could AI power?
Ooh, the possibilities are huge. Think about personalized storylines. The AI creates a story just for you based on your choices and what you like.
It's like choose your own adventure, but on a whole other level.
Yeah, exactly. Or imagine tools that let you make your own house sigil, write your family history, even compose music that sounds like it came straight from the show.
Okay, I'm getting way too excited about this. But before we go full-on fantasy land, let's talk about that Spanish language paper you sent over. It was all about AI analyzing how characters' emotions change, right?
Yep. It's a cool paper, really gets into the nitty-gritty of how AI could help us understand the emotional side of Game of Thrones.
Okay, remind me, what exactly does it analyze?
So picture this, an AI that can track the emotional journey of a character. Let's say Tyrion, again. It can follow him through the whole series.
Yeah, walk me through that. How would that even work?
Researchers could train AI using huge sets of data about emotions. Then they feed the AI all the dialogue from the books or the show script. The AI would be able to pick out and categorize what emotions each character is showing in every scene. And it could even show those subtle changes in how they're feeling over time.
So we could actually see, like, Tyrion's emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
His sarcasm, his despair when he gets angry, all of it.
Exactly. We could see how events, relationships, betrayals, you name it, affect him emotionally.
That's incredible. It's like looking right into the character's soul.
Yeah.
What about the other characters, though? Could AI analyze their emotions, too?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine comparing like Tyrion's emotional arc to Daenerys's or Jon Snow's.
Mm.
We could see how their emotions are all connected, how they influence each other, and ultimately how they shape what happens in the story.
We'd see how every betrayal, alliance, battle, all of it affects everyone emotionally. That's insane.
Yeah, it is. And the paper talks about how AI could make even more complex relationship graphs, those things we were talking about. But these ones would not only show who's aligned with who, but also how their emotions play into it.
So instead of just seeing allies, we'd see like the strength of those relationships
Yeah.
and how emotions like love, hate, jealousy, all that affect those bonds.
Exactly. We'd see the love, the hate, the loyalty, the jealousy, all the messy stuff that drives us. It would be like this living, breathing map of emotions in Westeros.
This is all so fascinating, but a part of me still wonders, can AI really get like the nuances of human emotion? Or are we just kind of putting our own interpretations onto the data?
It's a good question. I mean, it goes back to that whole question of what does it mean to be human? Can a machine really get emotions? Or is it just copying patterns?
I guess that's a question we'll keep asking as AI gets, smarter and smarter.
Hmm.
But even if AI can't fully understand our emotions, it can still show us some pretty interesting things about how we interact and make decisions.
Absolutely. It can make us question our own ideas about what it means to be human.
This whole deep dive has really got me thinking. AI's impact on Game of Thrones could be huge,
Hmm.
and it affects everything from how stories are told, to games, to how we understand human emotion. It's wild.
And we're just getting started. As AI keeps growing, I mean, who knows what'll happen? The possibilities are kind of endless.
It's crazy to think about all this stuff. It
Yeah.
feels like, we've only just scratched the surface of what AI could do with Game of Thrones.
It's true. There's just like so much to explore. And honestly, the thing that excites me the most is how it makes us rethink what storytelling even is?
What do you mean?
Well, we've always thought of stories as coming from one person, right? Like George R. R. Martin or whoever. But AI kind of messes with that. It's like we're entering this time where stories can be like made together with AI as a partner.
So instead of just reading, fans could actually, like, help shape the story.
Yep. Imagine a platform where you could use AI tools to make your own storylines, create new characters, maybe even change what happens to the characters we already know.
That's some next-level fan fiction, man. It's
Yeah.
like a story everyone's telling together, author, reader, it all gets kind of blurry.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so cool about it. It opens up the creative process. Lets fans be a part of the worlds they love.
I like that. It's empowering.
Yeah.
But what about, like, who owns all that? Who owns the stuff AI creates? And how do we make sure AI is used, the right way, ethically, all that?
Yeah, those are the big questions, right? And there's no easy answers. But it's a conversation we need to have as AI becomes like more normal in how we create. We need rules, guidelines, all that to make sure it benefits everyone, creators, and the people experiencing it.
It's like we're on this, like, uncharted territory, Pioneers in a new world of storytelling. Got to be excited, but also careful.
Totally agree. But I'm optimistic. I really think AI can unlock like insane creative possibilities, and it could help us connect with stories on a deeper level. And honestly, Game of Thrones with its massive world and all those characters, it's the perfect place to experiment with this stuff.
Man, this deep dive has been wild. We talked about AI analyzing characters, predicting betrayals, making new content, even those crazy immersive games.
Mm.
It's clear AI could completely change how we experience Game of Thrones. And honestly, storytelling in general.
And remember, we're just at the beginning. AI is only getting more advanced, so who knows what's next?
So to everyone out there listening, whether you're a diehard Game of Thrones fan or just curious about AI, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and, keep imagining. The future of storytelling, it's kind of in our hands now, and it's going to be amazing.
Hey, if AI can help us understand the choices those characters make in Westeros, maybe it can help us understand our own choices too, right?
That's a pretty deep thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into AI and Game of Thrones, everyone. Until next time.